Hello and welcome to Scarlet Serpent Readings. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Pick a Card reading, where we are going to be taking a shamanic journey with the tarot. So I'm gonna try and keep this reading short. We'll see how it goes, but it's really encouraging you to go on your own journey. And what we'll be doing is, depending on which pile you choose, you'll be going on a journey to the upper world, middle world, or the lower world. And there's a layout that goes with the reading. I'll kind of elaborate on that when we get to your pile, but just a really quick thank you for all of those of you who are subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it and I'm very grateful. And of course, for all of you just visiting, welcome. So with that being said, let's get to the pile selection. We have pile 1, which is this dragon. Pile 2, which is going to be the serpent. Hopefully you can see that. Of course not. Okay, that's pile 2. And then we have pile 3. With the Buddha. Oops. There we go. Hopefully you could see that okay. But again, pile 1 was the dragon, pile 2 was the serpent, and pile 3 was the Buddha. I look forward to your reading. I should also mention that the pile selection is always going to be in the description box below. So if you need some extra time to decide on which pile you feel is right for you, please take your time, pause the video. But otherwise, I'm going to meet you at your pile. Hi pile 1, if you chose the dragon, this is going to be your reading, your shamanic journey. And again, like I said in the intro, this is really a reading that's encouraging you to go on your own shamanic journey. And what we're going to do is, this reading has 3 different parts. One is where you're at and what area of your life would benefit from a shamanic journey. And in your case, you chose the middle world. So your spiritual team is saying that going to the middle world and doing a journey to the middle world would be the most beneficial for you at this time. And so we'll take a look at what situation would benefit from that. Then we're going to look at this sort of transformation, this change that'll happen with that situation as you... So we're kind of like... I could see it visually, it's kind of hard to describe it, but we're actually moving through the door. So as you move through the door, we're just going to see what's changing. And then once we get to the middle world, we're going to receive messages from specifically an elemental. So that'll, again, depend on you. I don't... For this reading, I didn't want to put that forth, like this is the element or the elemental or the fairy that's working with you. I kind of want you to figure that out on your own, or at least feel the energies for yourself. But I'll, of course, kind of hint at certain ones that are coming through in the reading. But we're just going to get a message from the elementals, kind of healing guidance, and a few oracles as well. So let's dive right in. So this feels like a relationship reading, like maybe a romantic relationship or just a friendship, but what's coming through is mostly some sort of relationship transformation and change. So I'll show it to you. We have the Page of Swords. Okay. We have the Knight of Cups. Okay. And then we have the Four of Wands. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward, especially if you're familiar with tarot. Just looking at the imagery, really. It seems as though you and either your partner or this other person are looking energetically in 2 different places, but you're facing each other. It's kind of... It feels a little bit like a forced connection here. Actually, they're facing each other. Excuse me. They're both facing each other. If I could show you again. So the Page of... the Knight of Cups, the Page of Swords here. And I'll go ahead and clarify these, but it feels as though what journeying to the middle world will do is kind of shift your perspective on this relationship, shift your perspective of how suitable this partner or this person is in your life. It feels as though you are the Knight of Cups, and the Page of Swords is a little bit younger on their journey, although they're fast moving, they know how to use their mind to get what they want. We have the Two of Cups with the Page of Swords. Lots of relationship energy here. So, and we have the Ten of Swords for the Knight of Cups. Yeah, okay. Knight of Cups. And then we have the Nine of Cups for the Four of Wands. So what I'm getting here is your spiritual team is asking you to contemplate how satisfying this connection is for you, instead of possibly sacrificing a lot of yourself for this other person. We have Venus and Aries, so there's a lot of passion here, but I don't know if you feel like it's being reciprocated. We have the Two of Cups with the Page of Swords, so maybe this other person feels like it is fair. Maybe this other person, again, this really feels romantic, but again, this could be a partnership as well, or maybe like even a co-worker or something like that. With the Knight of Cups, we have the Ten of Swords, which is interesting because I do have the cards laid out for the message once you get to the middle world, so that's interesting. I'll refer back to it a little bit later. Notice how these swords are purple, indicating wisdom. This is an energy that you're at currently, but notice how the lips here are covered. Maybe there's a hesitation in expressing the way you actually feel. Let me organize this a little bit before we move on to the transition. But I just wanted to touch on that. There's Pisces energy coming through, Sun, Venus multiple times, so that's kind of why I'm saying this probably has to do with the relationship or just your expression of love. And the middle world is really, because we're going to the transitioning part now, so the shifting of energies as you go on your journey. I do have the shamanic drums in the background, but here we're going kind of outside a house, or going through the door. It's within our world, it's within our dimension, and a lot of times you'll be called towards a specific element or a fairy, kind of like for this one I'm feeling a lighthearted energy, so maybe butterfly, dragonfly sort of energy as well. We're gonna find out which, let's do that right now actually, if there's a specific element, an elemental that'll be the most beneficial for you. We have influence, which is not. There's a lot of phases here. I'm getting a bit of water. It's kind of like this hybrid of water and earth. Yeah. So that will entirely depend on you. But lots of water, earth, and probably moon energy, because you're the Knight of Cups and you're very good at navigating through there's a strong emotional intelligence, especially with the amount of cups that are showing up as clarifiers in this reading. So we did have the Nine of Cups clarifying the Four of Wands, and then the Two of Cups clarifying the other person's energy, which was the Page of Swords. So as we start our journey, the transition that's happening is the Four of Pentacles, and I don't usually read reversals, but it is the Six of Wands in reverse. And I feel as though as you begin your journey, especially with the earth element coming through here, kind of retreating a little bit as far as the love that you're giving to this person, the amount of energy that you're giving to this person. The raccoon is interesting because it's usually something that's associated with deceit. So kind of proceeding with a little bit of caution. There's just this shift of like, okay, let me just pull back my energy. The sun is showing up again, so it's showing up multiple times already. And then with Leo energy, we have, I believe that's Jupiter, but I actually forgot. Whoops. Sun or Jupiter in Leo, but we do have that in reverse. There might be an issue when it comes to being a little prideful and trying to hold on and retain this relationship. And I think as you, again, as you go into that transition of moving to the middle world, you start shifting your priorities. There's this kind of realization of what's actually making you happy. And is it this person? Is this person at your frequency, or is it something that you're kind of forcing? Do I want to clarify this? Just two cards. And then with the influence card as well, with the influence card as well, the influence feels like there's an external force that's kind of, forcing you to be in a relationship with this person. And again, this could be a work relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but it is kind of like other people, circumstances are almost forcing you to feel like you have to interact with this person. There is, all the elements are here, but I'm feeling a lot more of the earth energy. I feel a lot more of the element of earth, maybe Archangel Uriel if you do work with archangels, or like an earth dragon. Just because you chose the dragon, and I like dragons, so maybe some of you in this reading like dragons too. But what I'm getting at here is with the nine of swords, Jupiter coming through again, so lots of expansive energy, and it's kind of this energy as you go through the middle world is bringing into awareness. It is expanding so you could see a little more clearly what's actually happening, what is influencing your mind, and kind of getting a broader perspective of this interaction, this relationship that you have. We do have an eye, and the eye is crying, so there's kind of like a realization, I think, here. As you pull back, you also pull away from the swords there. I hope you could see that eye with the tear. Okay. And then with the Knight of Pentacles, this is just, it's interesting because your energy previously, I don't know if you remember, it was the Knight of Cups. Shifting this energy into the Knight of Pentacles, grounding this emotional energy, and I'll show you again, but it's like putting the water into a chalice that is made of pentacles or something, like a bowl for the water. So it's kind of it's placing the emotions in so that you could see them and understand them a little bit better. I'm hoping this makes sense. Really just grounding the emotions with the pentacle there. And that's where I get that bowl with that circular imagery. Green, very grounding as well. Green coming through a couple times because I'm noticing here with this color combination, there's purple, there's green, and there's blue, and I just want to show you some of the previous cards that we saw, So this journey is a blending experience of all the emotions that you're feeling and organizing them in a way so you could be a little bit more practical, grounded again, and less influenced by these external factors who are keeping you in this sort of relationship. Okay, so now we are at the destination. We get to, you'll feel an energetic shift as you finally enter the middle world, as you move forth into the middle world. I'm going to draw an oracle card at the end to kind of get an idea of what guide came through. But as for the healing portion of the journey, once you're actually there, once you sit for a little while, the healing that comes through is, yeah, pretty apparent here. I want to show you that, again, the beginning of the reading was the Page of Swords. So this was the other person. And I'm only showing this because a few things happen, okay? So you have the Son of Feathers, which is the Page of Wands. And we have Accomplishment, which is the Nine of Pentacles. And you'll notice that the bird is moving. And then finally we have the Ten of Swords, which I had mentioned earlier, underneath your card, which was the Knight of Cups. So you already know that something has to end. You know it deep down, but there's a hesitancy in making it happen. There's a hesitancy in knowing what'll come next. But as you journey, I feel as though you'll realize, okay, sorry. I'm just showing them in order so you can see them. Okay. I think this looks better. Yeah, this is how it was. I apologize. It really feels here like letting the bird go, like letting the bird free. And it's interesting how the word accomplishment is there. It's interesting how the word finality is there. I'm getting, like, allowing this person to change within themselves. We have the number 9 coming through twice, and the number 10 coming through twice. So there's really a cycle that I want to say needs to come to a close, but also it's kind of, there's a nudging here, and I think part of what will make it easier is grounding yourself and feeling secure within yourself, and also feeling confident in your decision, knowing that what you're feeling deep down in your heart of hearts is right. And I think letting go benefits all parties involved. But we're going to clarify these because I don't want to jump to conclusions either. We have the Ace of Cups underneath the Son of Feathers, which again was the Page of Wands. So it's kind of like the page that the other person finds new emotional fulfillment within themselves, and I think that's important so that they could evolve. We have for you in the accomplishment position, which was the, again, 9 of Pentacles, Judgment. That might be why it feels heavy. And Judgment is a realization and an awakening of how much lighter you could potentially feel. I don't want it to feel as though I or my spiritual team are influencing you too much on this decision. I think this is something that you'll feel confident about once you actually do your own shamanic journey. But this is just indicating what could potentially come out of it. And then let's see with the finality card. Whoop. I have 3 cards. I'm just going to take them. Okay, so describing the 10 of Swords, we have the Knight of Wands, the 3 of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles. It feels as though you've been avoiding the aching heart, avoiding heartbreak, but at the same time avoiding a new, specifically financial or material opportunity that'll come through, and that'll bring a new type of love and a new type of emotional satisfaction. I think with the Judgment card, feels like life purpose. So maybe that's kind of where your spiritual team are trying to guide you a little bit more towards you're finding a place in the world, regardless of age, finding something to leave behind, finding a legacy. And it's really interesting that the end of the last card of the reading is the Ace of Pentacles, because I had, if you remember, mentioned that I feel as though the main spirit guide would be an earth elemental. So I feel like that's confirmation of that. But there we go. I just want to show you these cards as well, because these two represent the transition, your transition. This is your energy of kind of leaving with the Six of Wands reversed, leaving the pride behind, embracing your potential as far as being the Knight of Pentacles. And this is the healing. This is the healing, is a new opportunity to manifest something. You might have been trying to manifest a more grounded relationship, a more stable income, something along those lines. Let's just draw an additional oracle card to see any additional healing messages that'll come from this journey. I said this reading was going to be quick. Didn't happen. We have integrity, the compass. This integrity feels like it's a personal thing. It's your integrity, being true to who you are, following your intuition, because again, the Knight of Cups, you know about the Ten of Swords. That was in the very beginning. It's in your energy, but there's a slight denial. The word codependency came up. That could be triggering. That might not necessarily be the case, but I have to mention it because it's there. The next card is underneath the deck. Trust the fall. The fall, the letting go. Definitely confirmation of that as well. Allow this energy, allow this person to, because they have, again, their own journey, their own transition to go through, so that you can allow something new to come in. And I feel like this thing that's new is going to make you really happy, but it's just hard to see that until, it's there. So hopefully this Shamanic Journey reading was helpful. Please let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 2. If you chose the Serpent, this is going to be your reading. Okay. And so what we're going to be doing is journeying to the lower world with the tarot. We're going to start with a current situation that would benefit from this journey to the lower world. We're going to then see how those energies start to shift as we start journeying lower and lower. And then finally we'll receive healing messages from that world, from either an ancestor, or most likely, just for this reading, a power animal. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that, especially since I would like for everyone to kind of have their own experience if you decide to go on your own journey. So let's start. I have a few cards again for a situation that would benefit from this journey to the lower world, and fitting enough, we have the World card show up, which is a flower, a blossoming of yourself, and we also have the Ten of Swords. So definitely a transition, definitely a moving forward and a personal blossoming. And then we have the Four of Cups, which I feel like is where you're at, just not really recognizing the changes. Well, you might be recognizing some of them, but there's also the sense of boredom as you are blossoming, as you are changing. And then we have the Nine of Cups, which kind of mirrors that blossoming energy, which really mirrors kind of the work that comes out of this process that's happening to you now. But we're going to clarify all of these, okay? We have the world's. We have the Six of Swords for the World card. So there's a really strong desire to move forward. It feels as though you might have felt stuck for a long time, and I would say that the lower world would be helpful in kind of anchoring in, grounding your energies, making you feel, yeah, connected to the earth. You know, expanding your energies in that way. And we have the Star for the Ten of Swords. I feel like whatever situation this is, you kind of want it to end. That's what you're hoping for. You're hoping for transition. You're hoping to... I just feel a lot of desire to move. And you notice with this card that the bones are actually seeping into the earth. So I guess that's fitting for the lower world, where there's this part of you that is being urged to kind of release into the planet, so that there's like this transmutation that wants to take place here. Lots of cup energy as well. Lots of cups. So let's clarify this Four of Cups regarding the situation that would most benefit from your journey to the lower world. The Hanged Man perspective. So it'll probably help you see the other cups when it comes to the Four of Cups. Helping you see the opportunities that'll allow you to move forward and to transition and to really expand and blossom. Let's clarify these Nine of Cups. It's like you have something to show, but you might be hiding it, and maybe you're kind of breaking out of that shell, you know. Like there's a talent, there's a creative spark within you. Temperance. So there's quite a few major arcana, which is why I guess the World card was there. There's a big change in your life, and I think the lower world would help you find patience as well. But we have temperance, and I had mentioned the cups. There's a lot of cups in this reading, so there's a lot of emotional energy, and hopefully you could see it here eventually. So it's kind of hard with this camera sometimes, but there's a cup at the top of both of these cards. And the Star in the very top, and there's one right in the middle here, if you could see that. Yeah, okay. So being patient with this process, the flowers blossoming, the oysters coming out, like it takes some time, and I think you'll feel more comfortable in the present moment as you realize, you know, there really isn't a rush, and that these things unfold naturally. So as you descend into the lower world, and kind of like the gravel and the ground kind of move upwards through your body, move upwards into your auric field, and you just start feeling the energetic shifts. I think parts that start transitioning, like the cards are showing, is the Four of Wands. Yeah, Four of Wands. The Knight of Swords, and the Ace of Swords. This is where that movement is coming from, the movement of the mind. You really, really want to move forward here, and you will, but I think part of this is kind of bringing definitely a hawk. A hawk or a falcon, spirit guide, a power animal specifically. You'll also be aware of your thoughts during this process. That part of the reason why this feels like a slow transition is because you're thinking about, you're very aware of the fact that this is what's happening, that there's a shift, that there's something that wants to come out of you, that you're exiting one part of your life and entering a new one, and that awareness is being amplified by your mind, because your mind is very powerful. There's a lot of telepathic energy here. We have the Page of Cups, clarifying the Four of Wands. Okay, so maybe there's a love interest or just a desire to find love, especially with the Knight of Swords kind of facing, oh, this is interesting, facing the Page of Cups, because the hawk, you can see, is kind of like there's a fish there, right? It's like the hawk is trying to grab the fish, I think. I feel like you're after something. It does feel like it could have something to do with love, but it could more importantly have something to do that, again, brings you a lot of emotional satisfaction, and there's patience and kind of the timing when it comes to acquiring that thing. It's not necessarily an item, it's not necessarily a person, but it's kind of like a lifestyle that you're after, and you want it, and it's just the pieces, the stars have to align, that sort of thing, where everything is right, and then you could dive in real quick because you're ready to dive in. You really are. And all these cards coming out, I think that's your energy, just ready to jump. Okay, sorry about that. So the card that came out is the Moon, clarifying the Ace of Swords, and this is just telling me that you may or may not, most likely, be a little unaware of the fact that your mind is really influencing your perception of time during this process of unfoldment and alignment and transition, is that you're thinking about it a lot. And I think you're also aware of the power of your mind and kind of hoping, kind of maybe even forcefully shifting the energies on your own, when in reality there's just other factors involved that are kind of behind the scenes that would make for a more complete transformation and transition, as opposed to something that's kind of wobbly and half-baked and incomplete. So yeah, as you go down, you'll just notice your mind a little bit more. As it calms down, you're more relaxed and you're more okay with how the process unfolds, and when you get out of this this journey, and if you decide to do it more and more often, your mind will quiet down, definitely. So let's get the healing messages from the lower world once you actually get to a place, and you can go as low as you want. Feel kind of heavy and comfortable, like you're in a cave or in a dark wood, but somewhere that feels very safe. The healing energies show the King of Swords. So straight away we notice a transition from the Knight of Swords to the King of Swords, where it was a lot of fast moving sword energy. You know what you want to get it. The King of Swords is a bit more, he has more control, he or she. The gender doesn't really matter. I picture like the Knight of Swords kind of running with the sword like this, and then the knight kind of holds the sword like this, where he has a lot more power and weight to his thoughts. So while the movement isn't as fast as like someone who holds one hand with the sword, the strikes that the king makes are a lot more powerful. And I think that's something that you will find in the lower world, is the power of your thoughts and grounding it and slowing down the mind so that you could feel more comfortable with where you are. Then we have the Nine of Cups, which is fulfillment. This, is it a moose? Whoops. It's staring at the King of Swords, so there's an emotional awareness of the thoughts, and I think you might even find that thinking certain things that make you happy are kind of what, because you have the Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups, so you know what makes you happy. I'll just show this to you though. And then we have the Mother of Roots. I'm going to clarify this card. What I'm getting is the babies at the bottom there. It's interesting, this imagery as you're traveling to the lower world, you know, where things can grow. You plant seeds and you allow them to grow at their own pace. Again, I have to say, because your mind is really fast, you're very intellectual, you're very telepathic. But this process, the guides are saying that it doesn't need to be forced. And the hawk, the hawk power animal, you know, it's not always flying, it's not always attacking. There's long periods of time where you could just see a falcon or a hawk or any kind of bird just sit there. It's just sitting there looking around, kind of licking its feathers, very patient. Or like a heron, it'll just move extremely slowly. I mean, I'm sure you've seen them. Let's see if I could show you this. I don't know if you remember earlier, but there was the Nine of Cups. As for what would benefit from this transition, from this journey into the lower world, and then we have the Nine of Cups again. This is all about what makes you happy. Nine of Cups, Ace of Cups, Page of Cups. So you're all about getting what you finally deserve, what you finally... You know what you want. And with the Father of Arrows, we have the Sun. The Sun feels in this case like this thing you have to share, especially intellectually. It's kind of like something that sparks you, teaching a certain subject or learning about communication of some kind, writing a book maybe, but it is a creative thing that is coming out of your, I was gonna say deliberate thoughts, but just I was gonna say more mature thoughts as well, but kind of a sharpened mind makes way for a more detailed creation that would have not been so clean if it was rushed. I hope this makes sense. It's kind of like woodwork, you know, when someone has a chainsaw, they do, or any kind of clay modeling with the art, or some sort of art where you're cutting away, but if you rush it too much, the detail just isn't there. Let's look at the fulfillment card. The Nine of Cups. That's crazy how that happens. Okay, because I was looking around and I was just noticing triangles, and I was like, oh, triangle, that's, I'm not gonna mention it, and then it comes up here. Expectations manifest, and this is Aries, the Sun in Aries, and the Sun in Aries here is very patient, even though the Aries has a lot of energy, but it knows what's coming. The Aries knows what's coming, and that's part of the manifestation is allowing something to blossom. And then this was the, it's kind of hard to see with this card, but there is a triangle, I promise. There we go. Triangle. So Temperance, Three of Wands, both cards about being patient during this process. And again, the lower world is perfect for that. Just that descent, feeling comfortable with being present, being comfortable with where you are, and being really certain that what this ending, this new beginning, how the world will open up for you, that it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. And then we have the Ace of Swords with the Mother of Roots. Okay, so for some of you, this Mother of Roots could represent an ancestor. I'm getting that. And that this is a communication coming through. So that might happen during this journey, is that you receive communication from a, more likely than not, a female ancestor who feels quite a bit older, like a grandmother, great-grandmother, like an older aunt. But otherwise, more grounded thoughts, more, again, most of this reading feels like deliberate thinking, practical, not just practical, but like there's a weight to your thinking. There's, we have grief, a grief card. So there might have been some of you who have lost a loved one, and I think that loved one might come through during this, again, this and I had mentioned, I guess, with the 10 of Wands, or the 10 of Swords, that there is a little hint of that as well, of potential loss. So this might have to do with that as well. And feeling comfortable moving on. That's only going to be for some of you, though. We also have responsibility. So this responsibility feels more like taking care of yourself. We see similar imagery with the horns, so I just want to bring that up. Maybe your power animal is a moose, or I don't know what that is. I'm sorry, but let me see. No, okay. The responsibility card feels like taking ownership of the way you feel, of you, of your place in the now. And acknowledging the shifts in energy. I have 1111 showing up, so that's kind of a confirmation of that. So let's continue. Just one more, where did the deck go? Sorry. One more oracle card, just a healing energy. And again, really this reading is kind of hinting at what might happen, what energies you could feel, what you can expect if you decide to go on a journey to the lower world. We have divine design, the unknown. Design is interesting here, because the divine design feels like you. It feels like the perfection that is everything you are, and realizing it, and realizing that that perfection takes time. But it's always worth the amount of time it takes. So let me show you. Fairly similar imagery, absolutely beautiful, really, but it's showing me to allow things to unfold. There's just a really strong sense of patience that comes from this connection to the lower world, and you might get visualizations of things blossoming, of just the slow process of ebb and flow in the natural world. And then we have perception, the dreamer. This is all that swords energy. It's kind of ties to the manifestation. It ties to the Ace of Swords. It ties to knowing that your desire is coming, but being patient in it. I think that's kind of the patience is. It's a strength. It's confidence in the universe. It's trusting. So hopefully this reading was helpful, and hopefully you do decide to go on a shamanic journey. Please let me know in the comments how I did. Please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in a future reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose the Buddha, this is going to be your reading, and we are going to be journeying to the upper world. And the layout of the reading is that the first part is what area of your life or what situation will most benefit from your journey to the upper world. And then we're going to see how that energy kind of shifts, how it goes into like a transition as we ascend. And then finally we'll get a healing message from the upper world, most likely either a sort of teacher, ascended master, a wise one, an archangel, something like that. So we'll see how that unfolds. And again, this is kind of seeing what would happen if you were to decide to do your own sort of shamanic journey. But this is yeah, we're just gonna jump in. Okay, so for the situation that would benefit from this journey to the upper world, we have the Justice card. And so definitely something that needs fairness. We have the Queen of Pentacles, and then we have Strength. So it could be a fairly difficult situation that you're dealing with. What's interesting to me is that we have water, like a being that lives under the water, a being that lives on land, and a being that is on the sky. And what's interesting is just the different perspectives. There's this sort of balancing that comes through within yourself. There's a lot of very powerful energy within you, a lot of you might want to move out of a certain living situation or a certain lifestyle. It might have felt as though you've had to fight and tap into your strength a lot, and that might have been exhausting, especially with both the Queen of Pentacles and the Strength card. It's like there's a lot of effort that you've put forth into being honest, into being really like the King of Swords, into standing true to who you are. And there's been a lot of resistance there, and you've been very stable within yourself, but now's the time to kind of reap the rewards of that. And I think this journey would help you realize how much work you've put in, because sometimes maybe, well, not help you realize what you've put in, it's kind of helping you realize the outcome, that all of this effort that you've put forth hasn't been in vain, that it's helped you grow as a person, and it's helped put you on a spiritual path that'll help others, and it's also expanded your spirit. It's made you a lot more confident in who you are. Let's clarify these cards. The Page of Wands for Justice. Maybe the Page of Wands is a person you've been dealing with. We have the Fool for the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, so I did mention maybe wanting to move. I think that's kind of clarification for that. And feeling confident in being able to move. And then we have the Queen of Cups with the Strength card. So that kind of matches that energy that I'd mentioned, because usually the Strength card has nothing to do with the water, right? So it's really interesting that it would be a fish underwater, and then we have the Queen of Cups. So part of your strength is your attunement to your emotional body, your emotional energy, and allowing that to push you forward. Despite some of the resistance you might face, I think that's part of what the Justice card is also showing me, is that you know the path that you've been on, and despite other people's misunderstandings, because I feel like the Page of Wands just feels like people who have been acting on passion, very impulsive. You've had to deal with that and stay true to who you are with the Justice card. So there's a lot of supporting energies here. There's a lot of support for you, and that you're going to get what you deserve. And I think this journey to the upper world would help you with that perspective. As far as that the actions you've taken have been more than something that benefits you, that a lot of people look up to you. A lot of people look up to you. I'll just leave it at that for now, and we'll continue. But let's see how these energies will kind of shift as you ascend. So we're kind of, I guess, stereotypically going up the elevator now, and there's sort of shifts in the perspective of kind of the Justice card, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Strength card. How much work you put in, has it been fair? Okay, so we have the 8 of Cups. So there's that movement I was mentioning, flying away with the moon guiding you. There's a strong attunement to the water energies with Pisces, and I say Pisces because the Strength card, that is not the fish that's in the Pisces, but it's interesting that would be your strength. We have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is facing the 8 of Cups. So I think part of the justice is bringing you towards like-minded people, bringing you not just towards like-minded people, but towards an environment that would benefit from you just as much as you would benefit from it. We have the Justice card again. So this isn't changing, this is staying the same. With the Lion again, with the Strength card. So there's a lot of power with you. There's a lot of power in your honesty, in your judgment. I think a lot of people look up to you for that. So this could be a legal matter that you're dealing with and being grounded, and you're trying to get out of it. But for some of you, it's also just getting away from, it's like cutting energetic cords from people who are almost taking advantage of you sometimes, or just they feel immature. I don't know, there's that sort of environment. But otherwise it would be just moving to the next phase of your life where you could actually apply your wisdom, and people would really notice how much wisdom you actually have, and can learn from the endurance that you've displayed through your strength and through the Queen of Pentacles. Like, there's just been a lot of work, a lot of inner work, a lot of spiritual work that I think people should hear about. We have the 10 of Wands. So I think that moving away from the 8 of Cups is helpful, because there's been just a lot of other people's energy. This was describing the 8 of Wands. And if you notice, those logs are shown by the Queen of Pentacles. So you've been put to work. I have to be honest here. You've been put to work here. Work on yourself, but also work for other people, and you're moving away from that. Describing the Knight of Wands, we have the 9 of Swords. You might have felt unable to leave because of the responsibilities you've had towards others. And I think that's something that's shifting, is that the responsibility is kind of like a perception where, I mean, if you are your first responsibility, I think you'll find more happiness in dedicating more time to you and being honest with that feeling you have in your heart center. And let's clarify this Justice card. 5 of Cups. A dissatisfaction. And that's kind of what this honesty is about. Because the first Justice card was clarified by the Page of Wands, and this Justice card is clarified by the 5 of Cups. Because it feels as though you might have not gotten the justice, you might not have gotten what you feel like you deserve for all of the effort that you've put in. And I think there's just that realization that it's just timing, and it's the environment that you're in, and that you do have the power to move out of it. Especially with the Knight of Wands here. I'm trying to see if there's something else. Let's get an oracle card for this part of the reading. Like, who's coming through to help? If it's a spiritual teacher, a guide. Mystery. That's great. I guess that depends on you and your journey. Okay. I kind of want to know what this Justice card is about, though. Retreat. The Justice feels like it has to do with you and giving yourself permission to take care of yourself, because you've taken so much care for a lot of other people and you've taken on a lot of other burdens, and it's catching up to you, and there's this sort of small resentment that's building up. And part of the Justice is that you deserve to feel satisfied energetically, emotionally, mentally as well. So as we continue to ascend and go up to the higher realms, we find ourselves really at the top. I mean, there really is no end, but whenever you decide to stop is when you'll start receiving the healing, connecting with your spirit guide, really a teacher, the sort of teacher that's up there. It could be an angel, it could be an ascended master as well, who's up there waiting, who has a message for you. But let's see what the healing is, the healing message. We have the Ace of Swords, and this is truth. So this is obviously the overall theme. Justice, truth. It's been here throughout the whole journey, with the wings being spread out. So you might find that in this journey, you might find the power that you have in being honest with yourself, being honest about the situation that you're in. We have the Five of Swords, which says defeat. This kind of feels like a realization of the amount of effort you've been putting in. Again, since we did have the Ten of Wands earlier, there's that weight that it's kind of like you've been supporting so many people, you've accepted a lot of responsibilities, but it's come at the expense of yourself. And I think there's that realization of self-nurturing, self-care, and also recognizing your own strength. Then we have the Daughter of Arrows, which is the Page of Swords. Lots of swords energy coming through. Moving a lot slower here. Let's clarify these cards. But it's interesting how much swords energy is at the bottom of the reading. So not the bottom of the reading, but as you ascend to the upper world, lots of swords here. So we have the King of Pentacles for the truth, Queen of Pentacles for defeat, and then the Eight of Swords for the Daughter of Arrows. This is interesting. I'm probably going to clarify it again. Because there wasn't any indication of multiple people, like a relationship or anything like that. But let's look at this Queen of Pentacles with the defeat. Because the Queen of Pentacles, as you remember, shows up in the beginning of the reading as to where you're at. It just feels like you might feel defeated. Let's get another card for the King of Pentacles. The Tower. It could be a person. This could be a situation where the justice is has to do with, again, cutting cords with a certain person, maybe, who has given you all of the burdens while they come across as someone who's powerful, but in reality the power comes from you, and that's been something that's held in secret. The dot of arrows and the 8 of swords is like you might have felt stuck in that situation and have felt the need to move slowly. But the Justice card is saying that you're able to get out of it and break free. And I think, again, when you go to the upper world, you'll feel the support, the angelic support. You'll feel the support of the higher realms and with their perspective. And I think that'll give you a new bird's eye view as to like why you've endured all of this. What was the point? The point being development of mental energies, but really a development of your thick skin and how much you can endure, and sharing that experience with others as well, as of moving out and not carrying maybe even the energies of other people, the emotional energies of people who can't handle it themselves and they rely on you. Like we have the balance card and cycles. Maybe this was a cycle that you were in. I saw 1221, so that might be an indication. Oh, and is that? Yeah, that's 2. So 1221, the number 2. Maybe you recognize the number 2 as it comes up. Speaking of number 2, we have balance with the number 2 and 4. Balancing your responsibilities for other people and for yourself. And I think that's why the Justice card is coming through so many times, is you might be that person who the mediator for a lot of different circumstances in your life. Just look how these cards are so similar. That's who you are, and you deserve a break. You deserve to step back with the retreat card. And I think that this journey is an opportunity to step back and put things in perspective, because you've carried a lot. You've carried a big load, and yeah, hopefully you get that time. Hopefully you get that time to step back and take a deep breath and kind of reorient, rebalance yourself, realign yourself with your desires, because they're important as well. But hopefully this reading was helpful. Please let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care.